So you just graduated from school, now what? In this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to structure your CV if you just graduated from school and you are not sure where to start from.
Most young people who are working with us have a common problem coming to us and saying, okay, I just came out from school. What should I put on the CV? I have no idea. I have no experience. I believe I don't know what skills I need to represent there. Just where should I start and what should I put there?
Yeah, it is. It can be very, very frustrating because you say, oh, I don't have paid experience and I don't know what to do. But in fact, it is much easier than you're thinking. So, for example, first of all, make sure you think about your structure. You need to have your personal profile and you need to have your key skills, and then after that think about other different sections on your CV. However, it is really important before you start writing anything that you think about what you're good at. So sit down and write a list of things you're good at, and if you're not sure what, go and ask some of your friends, go and ask your family, and start that list, because that list will be the beginning of your CV.
Absolutely. Second thing, after you have this list in front of you, you need to make sure you find the right and next career target. So what is the job you are after? What is the job you would like to apply for? Because without that knowledge, without that experience, most young people, what they're thinking, oh, I want to get this position. I would like to apply for that job. But obviously the gap could be between a current situation where you are and where you're applying for could be a huge gap. Could be multiple steps needs to apply for. So make sure the position is crystal clear what exactly you would like to do and what positions you're applying for.
Exactly. I fully agree with you, because you need to have a reality check. That's what we're calling it. So what the reality check is, do you really have the skills? So let's say I just finished school and I want to, work in financial services, but obviously I don't have experience because I'm still in the beginning of my career. So is that realistic? Well, not. It's not realistic. You need to think about, okay, so what is that first step? If this is your goal, how can you achieve this goal? So to achieve this goal, you need to go through different stages of your career, and then yes, you can achieve it, and yes, you can become whatever you like, but you need to follow the steps. So start with this list, identify what your skills are, and think about, okay, so what is the area that I want to go for? So once you know which area you want to go for, look at what options are there. You need to have awareness of what are the possible jobs in that industry and what are the entry-level points. So when you find these entry-level points, then check what the requirements are. So how many of these requirements fit with already what you have? So this is a really, really good start to look into what is realistic and what's not, and do this reality check for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, fully agree with you. So let's say, for instance, just taking with your example, if you're from a financial sector, you would like to, let's say, work in a banking area. Your aim is to work in a bank as an analyst, or let's say work in a bank as an advisor. So let's say identifying yourself, you would like to apply for as a customer advisor in the first role, because identify this is, for instance, your entry role. So now what? Well, what should you do with a CV and how to write it? So first, let's discuss with the structure. Obviously, the first element is make sure following certain CV writing principles you need to follow anyhow. So the obvious the are the following: information on the top, name, telephone number, email address on the top, followed by the profile section, following by your competencies and skills. We cover a bit more later what you need to put there. Coming after that, your education sector and courses, and after the experience parts. So the next part, we're going to elaborate each section, what you should put and how to emphasize and how to sell yourself.
Yes, I will start from the bottom, however. So the bottom, first of all, a lot of people ask us questions. Do I need to put a hobbies and interest section? I would say only if you think this is relevant to the job or opportunity that you're going for. So if it is relevant, yes, put it. So let's say I want to apply for a fashion magazine and I read Vogue all the time. Definitely put that, like that you follow all of these fashion trends and you watch all these shows and stuff like that. This will definitely help you if you put it under your hobbies and interest section. However, if, for example, if it is something that's not relevant, then probably I would say avoid putting irrelevant information. Always ask yourself, is that thing going to help me get the job or move me closer to where I want to be, rather than just put any information on there. After that is the, like as I said, I'm going from the bottom now, so it is the employment history. You might not have employment history, but think about projects that you have done at school. Think about projects you have helped, for example, your parents with, such as, I don't know, you helped your dad repair the car in the garage, or you helped your mom with arranging the flowers in the garden, something like that. So these are things that you need to start thinking when you are structuring these bits from the CV, which is obviously at the bottom at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this project could be very, very, very beneficial. But again, you might thinking, yeah, but Roland, this doesn't really have a correlation. If I'm gardening and I'm going for, let's say, a customer service role, how can I represent those information? Normally, the suggestion would be the following: just think about those kind of experience, either paid or unpaid, as deal with them as a job itself. So give them a kind of title. Let's say you were assisting with your dad, let's say with maintaining the house, or maintaining decorating and stuff, and just put that assisting with this, and just try to create a couple of lines about what was your duties and responsibilities along the line. Obviously not lying here. You mentioned in a bracket, this was actually work experience, or this was actually a project, but deal with the experience as it would be a paid position as such. Also, at the same time as well, if you, let's say, did some kind of work which is not related to your major area, let's say you worked for Zara as a temporary Christmas customer service or sales assistant, for example, and your area is a finance area, and you would like to obviously go to the working for a bank, for example. Again, you see there is a little correlation there, because if you're dealing with customers at Zara, the same sort of principles you need to follow when you are dealing with the customers in the banking sphere as well. So, for example, you can mention that how did you deal with the complaints, how did you help the guys, the customers, to pick up the clothes and obviously match with their style, and how to advise them about the promotion and the current promotion at the store, etc., etc. But anyway, all these elements, all this experience, either paid, unpaid, volunteering, or school experience, school projects, or goes under that section.
This is a really brilliant example, Roland, because it is a lot of people are wondering, okay, well, what I've done or the project I've done has no correlation with what I want to do right now. So this was a really good example of how you can match the two. And guys, don't forget that, for example, communication skills, organizational skills, planning, time management, like work ethics, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter how you gain them. Like it could be through unpaid work experience, through working on projects at school, at home, or doing anything else. They're very valuable work skills that you can include on your CV to demonstrate that you're the right candidate and that you need to be given a chance for that job.
Absolutely. If you're moving up the line, so we talked about the hobby and personal interest, we talked about obviously experience part. The sections comes after that is most probably comes to your skills and competencies. So this is a section you need to be very, very careful for two perspectives. First perspective, obviously, when you're analyzing the desired positions you're going for, and you, let's say, identifying what are the key skills what looking from the candidates, and try to obviously match that skills on your CV, what you found on your description. The second reason why is important, because when you're applying online, no matter what settings, let's say through Indeed, through LinkedIn, to the company website, most likely you will bump into the robot, which is kind of the gatekeeper between the company you are going to apply for a role, as well as between yourselves. So those gatekeepers, those robots, basically responsible to let the CV go to the HR manager who meet the certain criteria at certain level. And if your CV not meeting with those criteria, most likely not going to be landing to the management team or a HR manager in your box. So using that certain skill set and skills and competencies on that section is help you to not just pass the robot, but obviously trigger more interest for a HR manager as well, because they can see what they're looking for. You're representing those skills from your past experience we just mentioned earlier.
Yeah, definitely. One other section that you need to make sure you have on your CV is your education history. And there is different kind of discussions around, okay, if I put my education history, do I need to put my grades of GCSEs? Or if I have like A levels or something like that, do I put the grades? Do I not put the grades? What do I do? So it really depends on the situation. Normally, I would say you don't have to put the grades, but some jobs require you to put all these grades or what you have achieved. So before you apply, I would say always, always, always check what's on the job description. If they want to have the grades, put the grades. If they don't need the grades, you can just write, I have 5 GCSEs, and then list the subjects, and that is absolutely enough for you to be successful because you're demonstrating that you have that qualification regardless of the grade.
Yeah, absolutely. This section, by the way, most people missing out mentioning certain courses you might have done. So let's say you self-educated yourself about, let's say, Microsoft Excel, or let's say you learned certain software using, let's say, certain designing software, or let's say Adobe or whatever is your interest of yours. If those softwares or those additional skills and courses, there is a correlation between the positions you're applying for, I would recommend you to put it there as well. Let's say, just put there, let's say, where you get, if you find a course online and it was, let's say, a Udemy course, just put Udemy online course, what was the course all about, and when did you complete the stuff as well. These again could add additional value to your CV and representing to for the reader, for the HR manager actually, what other qualities you can showcase to them and why differentiate yourself from other people.
Yeah, and as you can see in our presentation, we are showing you right now like a structure of a CV. So as we said, we're going from the bottom up. So we had the hobbies and interest section, we had the employment, if you have like any kind of employment, regardless if it's paid or not. We have the education, because obviously education is your most recent one. Then we have the skills, as you can see here. And then we have the personal profile. So the personal profile is basically a summary of who you are as a professional. So just to let you know, if you don't know what CV means CV means curriculum vitae, and it is translated from Latin, and it means the story of your life, but it is not the story of your personal life. Yeah, so the only thing that you put on the CV are professional stuff and who you are as a professional. So your personal profile is kind of like your sales pitch, if we can call it like that, because the whole CV is a marketing document. So if you're not sure what this means, is imagine a leaflet. Yeah, so how people are advertising. So imagine you are advertising and this is your advert. This is your advert leaflet. So use it in that way. So you summarize who you are, and also you summarize what your skills are, and then you finish with one sentence about what you're aiming, what your goal is, what kind of job you're going for, and what kind of contributions you want to make to the business. So why would they hire you, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially this basically, you might be thinking about how long do I need to write this for and how many sentences. Usually it's around 4 or 5 sentences long. It's not really crazy long. Normally how the people developing this section is, try to write, let's say, a couple of lines about yourself. You believe it's beneficial to let the employer know about you. Excuse me. And obviously, let's say, have a 10 sentence long context, and start shortening and shortening and shortening, and at the end you will find a balance around 4 or 5 sentences. So again, what normally contains this area, as Evelyn just mentioned a few minutes ago, is the experience what you have, no matter how paid or unpaid or when did you gain at school and stuff. Don't underestimate those experience. Experience is experience. If you feel it's relevant, you mentioned there. Second, the qualification obviously is important. Couple of skills and couple of achievements you might achieve during your work. I mean, your previous work. Let's say if it was Zara, you can mention with those experience, what you achieved from there. Anything you believe it's beneficial, let the employer know, and you believe is adding value to your statement.
And now we're at the top of the CV, finally. So what you include on the top of your CV, there's only few elements there, so don't go into anything too much. So you definitely have your name on the top of the CV. Don't forget to put it. I've seen CVs without names. Please guys, don't ever forget to put your name. Then you have your phone number, because if you are applying for a job, you want to make sure that they can contact you back. Again, I've seen CVs without contact details. Don't do this mistake. So you put your phone number, the one that you pick up and not anyone else. And then you put your email address, and very importantly, make sure your email address is very professional, doesn't consist any numbers that are related to your date of birth, and it doesn't say anything like, I don't know, I don't even want to mention what type of emails I've seen, but let's say keep it professional, and make sure that you have these details there. If you have a LinkedIn profile, probably not all of you know about LinkedIn, but if you know what LinkedIn is, then put your LinkedIn profile there, and that's it. You don't have to put an address unless that's a requirement somewhere on the CV, or unless you want to demonstrate to the employer that you live very in close proximity to where the location of the job is.
Absolutely. Yeah, so keep it simple. A couple of additional line in here. A couple of guys has maybe multiple telephone number, and they may think, I still have my landline. Should I put my landline there and a mobile number as well? The key major takeaway here, just try to stick to the number which you always carries with you and always available to pick up from, because you don't want, let's say, grandma pick up the phone and say, who is this? Or let's say your 5 years old sister pick up the phone and say, who is this? And obviously you don't want to get this situation. So one number which you always carry is with you. Also, maybe a good idea to have a professional recorded voice message. So nothing designed for your friends or for your mates. Try to keep it for very professional. Just keep it simple. How you reach ABC telephone number? Currently, I'm unavailable. Please leave me your number and name, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Something straightforward and simple. The reason why it could be this important, because if you came across with recruiters, and the recruiters normally quite busy with their own stuff, they happen to not call you back one more time. So once they haven't reached you out many times, they don't want to call you back anymore. And if the recorder switch on it immediately on your phone, they're gonna leave their name, telephone number, and you can call them back as one more chance for you to pick up on that communication what they left over. But otherwise, keep it simple, keep it straightforward. One more thing you would like to know is, how long is my CV supposed to be? So if you are graduated or just finished school and you just have a couple of experience but not much, try to keep your CV as a one-pager document. So very rare exceptions you need to have to create a two-page long document if you are just about to start your career. So keep it nice, keep it simple, one-pager, keep the design is very simple as well, and focus on these elements we just mentioned a few seconds ago.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.